Today, the presentation will talk about the combination of lactic acid bacteria and active dry yeast for the production of sour beer. So the presentation will be divided in 5 parts. In the first one, I will give an overview of the souring process, traditional ones and kettle souring one. Then I will talk briefly about the lactic acid bacteria metabolism. Then I will talk about the key parameters to drive the lactic fermentation. It's very important because the brewer needs some information to drive this fermentation and to act on it to be more performant and to have the good aroma in the final beer. Then we'll talk about the beer and how the production of organic acid will impact the production of alcohol by the yeast, and also how the organic acid are going to influence the aromatic expression in the beer. And then I will sum up the key point of this presentation. So the production of sour beer, the process is quite the same step as for the production of a beer, with the milling, mashing, filtration, boiling, cooling, fermentation, maturation, and bottling. So one of the process to produce sour beer is to inoculate at the same time yeast and the lactobacillus during the fermentation. And the beer produced by this process as a Berliner Weiss beer, the bitterness of this beer are very low, under 6 IBU.
But you actually have a lot of beers that are produced by that process. Berliner Weiss beer, I suppose, is an example of
Exactly.
Them. Okay.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Another process to obtain sour beer is a process developed in the area of Brussels, in Lambeck. During the cooling of the wort, you have a big aeration of the wort, and in the air you have several microorganisms that are introduced in the wort at this moment. And after, the wort is transferred in oak barrels, and the fermentation and maturation will occur in the barrels, and the maturation is very long, several months. And the example of product produced by this process are lambic or Gueuze beer. Another way to produce sour beer, it's after the main fermentation. You can have another fermentation that occur in oak fodder. And when you put the wort in the oak fodder, the microorganism present at the surface of the fodder, the bacteria, yeast, are going to inoculate the wort, and after you have a maturation of the fermentation and maturation of the wort. For example, you have the Flanders Red Ale beers. But another interesting process to produce sour beer, it's the kettle souring. So the kettle souring, it's a little bit different because it's before the boiling, the main boiling of the wort. So you have a first boiling of the wort not hopped, and then you introduce the lactic bacteria for the lactic fermentation. After the lactic fermentation, you have a boiling of the wort, and then you introduce the yeast to do the alcoholic fermentation.
An interesting question. Why do you boil just after filtration, as there is an additional boiling after that?
I guess it is to sterilize the wort prior to inoculation with the bacteria, to have only the bacteria acting in that souring process. And another question quickly in this respect. So why would you use non-hopped wort?
Because we know that the hop in the hope you have compounds which are bacteriostatic and can inhibit the growth of the bacteria. So when you work on a non-hoped wort, you are sure that the growth of the bacteria can occur. Okay. But another advantage of the kettle souring, it's the alcoholic fermentation is after the lactic fermentation, so the bacteria are not inhibited by the alcohol too.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So now some words about the lactic acid bacteria metabolism. So you have the homofermentative bacteria. The homofermentative bacteria can metabolize glucose into lactate. It's like the SAF sour LP652, which is the Lactobacillus plantarum. But you have also the heterofermentative bacteria, and these bacteria are able to metabolize glucose without oxygen in lactate and ethanol. But with oxygen, the glucose is metabolized in lactate and acetate. So, for example, we have the SAF sour LB1, which is Levi-Lactobacillus brevis. So now, how to manage the lactic fermentation? Which are the key parameters? It's very important because this information are very important for the brewers to manage the fermentation. So the main parameters we studied are pitching rate, wort density, temperature, and the aeration of the wort. To evaluate the performance of the lactic fermentation, several analyses have been performed. First, the acidification kinetics have been followed, and the production of organic acid was also measured. So first, the pitching rate. So as you can see on this graph, on the left you have the graph with LP652, and on the right the graph with LB1. So different pitching rate have been evaluated from 1 gram per hectoliter to 100 gram per hectoliter of bacteria. And as you can see, higher the pitching rate is, lower the pH, the final pH is. But at the same pitching rate, we can see that the pH reached with LP652 is lower. And now, if we correlate these results to the production of organic acid, we can see that the lower the pitching rate is and the lower the lactic acid production is. So if you want to increase the production, you have to increase the pitching rate.
But it doesn't seem to have a lot of effect on acetic acid production.
Yes, but the condition we chose for this experiment was in anaerobic conditions. That's the reason why the acetic is very low in these conditions. Yeah. So, in conclusion, LP652 produce more lactic acid than LB1, as you can see on this graph, and moreover, LB1 produce also acetic acid. Another parameter that had been studied during this work is wort density, the impact of the wort density. So on this graph, we can see that the final pH is quite the same depending on the wort density of the wort, from 8 to 16 degree plateau. And if we correlate, so the difference between the two bacteria is quite slight. In fact, it's very a small difference between the two bacteria. And if we look at the production of organic acid, we can see something a little bit different, because at 8-degree plateau we have less production of lactic acid, for example, than at 16-degree plateau. But it's quite strange, you can say, because the pH was the same, but the production of acetic or lactic acid is not the same. The reason of this, the explanation for this result is probably that the wort at 16 plateau have got a higher buffer effect. So that's the reason why the pH is the same at 8 and 16-degree plateau.
But that doesn't say anything about the taste, I suppose, or the taste and the flavor. If you increase the quantity of lactic acid, you will probably have a different taste still.
Exactly. In fact, the pH is a good parameter indicator, but effectively, the production of organic acid in these conditions is not the same. In fact, it's important for the brewer to have this information to understand. So another parameter is the temperature of the wort, because after the boiling of the wort, it's important for the brewer to know when he can inoculate the wort. And as you can see on this graph, at 45 degrees, we can see no growth of the bacteria. And it's important to cool enough the wort, and the better temperature to inoculate, it's between 30 and 37 degrees. It's a better optimal temperature for the wort.
But you could go up to 40 degrees. It depends on the performance that you want to reach, basically.
Yes, but you have a risk because you have less bacteria in the wort. Yeah. And this result is correlated to the production of organic acid. As you can see on the graph, the quantity of lactic acid is higher at 30 degrees or 37 degrees than at 40 degrees, for example. And now the aeration of the wort is also very important. So for the bacteria LP652, we can see that without or with oxygen, the beginning of the curve is the same, but at the end we have a final pH lower without oxygen. Though in anaerobic conditions, the lactic fermentation is more performant. But for the LB1, we have a quite different profile. We have the same pH at the end of the fermentation, with or without oxygen. But at the beginning, we can see the LB1 is affected by the presence of oxygen, because we can see the curve is delayed for around 4 hours. And on this histogram, we can see that for the LP652, we have the same production of lactic acid and acetic acid. With or without oxygen, we have the same behavior of the bacteria. But for LB1, we have something very different, because with oxygen, we increase a lot the production of acetic acid. And the ratio between lactic acid and acetic acid is around 3.8 without oxygen, and this ratio is 1.6 with oxygen. So we can have a different balance depending if we aerate or not the wort. And this point is very important for the brewer, because if we want to influence the aroma in the beer, it can drive the fermentation and modulate the aeration to produce more or less acetic acid in the wort.
I think that's very important. What you mentioned is to allow the brewers to have a clear understanding of not only the microorganism, but all the parameters that can influence the final expression, which is what you do very well, I think. Okay. Yeah.
So this is, you can see on this on this graph, you have an increase of the acetic acid when the aeration is higher in the wort.
Do you know if there is a clear correlation to the amount of aeration you do and the concentration or the expression of acetic acid? Theoretically, chemically, you could be able to explain that.
Yes,
or biochemically, you can explain it.
Yes, chemically we can, with the stoichiometric equation, we can.
But today we have not established, I think, that clear correlation. Huh?
No,
okay.
Not clear. So, in conclusion of this part, we can say that these bacteria have some common feature, like kinetic of acidification, that are quite close for the both bacteria. We have no significant impact of the wort density on the pH, but we have to be careful that it's not because the pH is the same that the production of acid is the same, as I told you previously, because the density of the wort have a buffer effect, so the brewer should take this information carefully. It's important for driving the fermentation. And the optimal temperature for the both bacteria is around 30-37 degrees. But these bacteria have also some difference. LP652 produce more lactic acid than the bacteria LB1. LB1 produce acetic acid, and if we want to modulate this production, we can play on the aeration of the wort.
So, I mean, that's a great conclusion, very interesting, but do you have any more data on the flavor, the taste, the aromatics?
Yes, now you are going to see how the production of organic acid can impact the alcoholic fermentation and also the aromatic expression in the beer.
Great.
So, to evaluate the impact of the organic acid, the SAF lager and the SAF ale have been introduced in the kettle sour process to see how the yeasts are going to react to the presence of organic acid. So, a kettle sour beer production protocol has been defined based on Pilsen malt, and the lactic fermentation was performed with the optimal parameter, pitching rate of the bacteria at 10 grams of bacteria per hectoliter. The density of the wort was 12 degree plateau. The temperature of the wort was 30 degrees, and the lactic fermentation was realized without aeration. The pH final targeted was 3.5. At the end of the lactic fermentation, the wort was boiled, and hopped, and the and the IBU targeted was 20. After the wort was inoculated by yeast, and the alcoholic fermentation was realized at 23 degrees, and the pitching rate for the yeast was 50 grams per hectoliter. And then, to evaluate the performance of the yeast, first kinetics of production of alcohols were determined, and also sensory analysis have been done on this beer.
That would be interesting. Mm-hmm. Nothing better than to talk about taste and flavor, Philippe?
Completely agree with you.
That's what you look for.
So all the SAF ale yeast have been evaluated in this process. And so we have two categories of yeast, POF positive and POF negative. So POF negative, that is to say yeast that don't produce phenolic compound, and POF positive, it's yeast which are able to produce phenolic compound. So if we take, we are going to take some example because I will present the more relevant results, because we don't have time to present all the results. So for example, for the K97 strain, we can see that the presence of acid organic doesn't affect the production of ethanol with this yeast. Even if the lactic fermentation has been performed with LP652 or LB1. It's not the same with US05, because we can see that the curve of production of ethanol are slowed down by the presence of organic acid. But what is important, it's the final quantity of ethanol produced is the same. It's slower, but we have got at the end of the fermentation alcoholic the same quantity of ethanol produced. Now, if we have a look of the lager yeast performance, here the example with the S23, we can see that the production of acid by LP652 affects the production of ethanol of this yeast. But it's not the case with LB1. So it's the same as previously. The curve slows down, but the final quantity of ethanol is the same, whatever the bacteria used. And here you have you can see an histogram where you have all the yeast, and we can see that at the end of the fermentation, in presence or in absence of acid organics, the performance and the production of ethanol is the same. So it's quite interesting to see that the kinetics are a little affected, but at the end we have the same quantity of alcohol produced. Now we are going to talk about aroma. So this is the first, the combination between the yeast POF negative and LP652 and LB1. As you can see, the main difference between the aroma profile is a higher perception of acidity with the LP652, and moreover, it was noticed more citrus notes with LP652.
So it's a more linear profile. It's more refined, really more on the sour part and on the sharp fruity part, yes. Citrusy part. Yeah.
Now we can see the combination of LB1 with POF positive yeast. So POF positive, that is to say yeast that are going to produce notes like clove or spicy note. And with LB1 we can see we have this phenolic odor, flavor which are here. And surprisingly, when the LP652 is used for the lactic fermentation, we lost the phenolic character. So, but we can find the same profile as a POF negative, in fact, with higher acidity, higher fruity notes, but we lost the phenolic character.
So, Eveline, that's a very interesting result, and it's quite impressive, but do you have a an explanation? Do you have a hypothesis that explains this? Why do you observe that? Why do you feel that? Why do you taste that actually?
So we were surprised by this results. So we have performed more investigation and more analysis of the beer. And for example, we quantify the vinyl guaiacol in the beer, and as you can see on this graph, we confirm that when we use LP652 with POF positive yeast, the quantity of 4-vinyl guaiacol is very low compared to the beer with LB1. So our hypothesis was that the vinyl guaiacol was transformed in an other compound, perhaps the ethyl guaiacol. So we quantify this compound, but no ethyl guaiacol was found in the beer. So our hypothesis now is that the ferulic acid present in the wort is probably transformed in another molecule, another compound, but we need more investigation to understand which is the pathway we implicated in this process.
What is interesting as well here is that the POF positive yeast strains affect negatively the production of 4VG below the threshold. Yeah. Because it's slightly above the POF negative yeast strains, but the threshold is much more intense.
Yeah. So to summarize this part, LP652 seems to consume ferulic acid during lactic fermentation. POF positive character is not detected when lactic fermentation is performed with this bacteria. So in conclusion, it's very interesting. We have two very interesting candidates for the kettle souring. First, during the lactic fermentation, we can modulate the production of organic acid with the LB1, depending on the aeration, for example, of the wort. We can produce more or less acetic acid plus lactic acid, and the LP652 produce twice more lactic acid than LB1. Concerning the flavor impact of the lactic acid fermentation, we see that the LB1 is more neutral. It's more a bacteria which don't bring a lot of aroma and respects the yeast flavor aromatic profile. Comparatively, LP652 is going to develop more citrus note and moreover impact the phenolic compound aroma bring by the yeast and decrease this aroma to, and contrary, it emphasizes the fruity notes of the yeast in the beer. So it's very interesting to modulate the profile of the aroma depending the bacteria you are going to use in the kettle souring. So thank you for your attention, and it was a pleasure to share this moment with you, and take care.